Hey global leaders and expatriates! Welcome to Joyride with Expatriates. If this is your first time here, in this show we bring every month a different person to talk about their expatriation experiences, cultural challenges, and how to be an effective individual while living abroad. Hi, I'm Tatyana Fittipaldi, and in this channel we make videos to global leaders just like you gain the right skill set to make impactful business decisions and improve their executive presence. Today we have the pleasure of talking with Dr. Mandy Zimmermann. Mandy was born in Germany. She is a chemist and holds a PhD in engineering. She has been working in the corporate as a global manager on 4 different countries, and her teams were based in Germany, Chile, China, and the US. 4 years ago, she relocated to Chile, where she is still in. In her corporate journey, she experienced a lot of challenges in terms of intercultural collaboration and leadership, and this is why she decided in 2019 to found the Zimmermann Global Leadership, a coaching and consulting company. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mandy to our show. Mandy, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi, Tati. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Sure, it's my pleasure. It's our pleasure. Mandy, it was so interesting how we met, right? But our viewers don't know you still. So please share us a little bit about where you are, where you came from, where you are right now, and why did you make the move?
Yeah, so I am a German. Maybe you hear that from my name. I'm not sure. My name is actually English, but my last name Zimmermann is German, even though in the US it's used with one N. So I have very often the trouble that they write it with one N. It's German. I'm currently living in Chile, South America. And I came here with a company 4 years ago. So I was working as a global manager in a chemical company, in the chemical industry. And I relocated in a global position. So this is why I'm here. I do not yet do not anymore work in this position. However, I stayed in Chile just because I liked it. But that doesn't mean that this is my final destination.
Yes, of course. We never know, right? But about Chile, what was your biggest challenge there when you got there? What do you think was your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge, and it was from the very beginning, and it's still how to deal with reliability or non-reliability. I still didn't figure out when I can rely on a person 100%, other than a few really close friends that I have. Things work different in Chile than in Germany. In Germany, when someone tells you, I'm going to do this by then, 100%, they're going to do it. But yes, you don't question that. Here, a yes, I will do this can mean everything. It can mean, yes, I will do it, but maybe I forget it. It can mean, I'm not sure yet, but I just tell you yes, because I don't want to be impolite, because saying no is impolite. Or it can also mean like, you know what, I just say yes because I don't want to talk further to you. And you never know, can you trust that yes or can't you? And it started really when I came to Chile in the company, waiting, like being excited in my new place, coming there in the company, and nothing was ready. Nothing. I didn't have a chair. I didn't have even a pen, a computer, nothing. And it was as if no one knew that I was coming, and I felt really unwelcome. I learned later, it's like normal that many people come into a company and no one is ready for them. Or you ask, you need someone to help you in the house doing something, or at work, having a deadline, and you're asking, and you always have to follow up. There might be a better way that Chileans have. I don't know. I still didn't really figure out how I can rely on people that I'm not too close with. I find myself following up again and again and again. And sometimes I have to realize, okay, that yes was probably a no. But how do I know that from the very beginning? I don't. So that was my biggest struggle, and it still is.
So it sounds like in Germany, everyone is very structured and in terms of thinking process and how they do things. And it sounds like in Chile, they're not as structured. So they don't have actually, you know, a plan of when and how. And so maybe this might have this lack of structure from the German perspective might seem, you know, something that could be in the way. What do you think about that?
Yes, from the German perspective, I don't want to say that we have structure and they don't. They have their own kind of structure, but from the German perspective, it's true. It looks like very destructured, like non-structured. And it starts with time already, right? Like time in Latin America is circular, and in Germany or in
Linear.
Very like we are probably the most punctual people in the world. I'm not sure.
I am sure about that. I remember when I was in Germany, all buses were, you know, to the minute. They were perfectly
right. 1 minute late is a complaint already. And here I remember being invited to a birthday party at 9 p.m. And people told me, because they knew me, you know what, don't show up before 10. I said, how can I show up at 10 when I'm invited? And no, don't show up before 10. I said, okay. I was like German punctual at 10 o'clock, and I was waiting 1.5 hours more till people came. I wanted to leave already, and then the guests came. And well, it's maybe funny in a birthday environment, but it's not funny at work, or if you're waiting for a plumber or whatever. If you need to rely on people, then it's really difficult with the circular time. But since everyone knows this here, for them it's okay. So they're used to it. They know when they invite someone at 10, they might show up at 12. I'm not used to it, and I don't know yet how to. I'm getting more relaxed with this. I'm more resilient, but I still don't figure out what exactly the time means or a yes means. So that that will probably always be a struggle.
Yes, it's always interesting to see because Germans are from a very low context culture, and you know Chile is more in the high end of the context culture. So it's always super interesting, you know, to see these engagements, how the engagements, you know, are playing out. And that's where my next question actually comes. Tell us a little bit about the differences between German communication and communication in Chile. Do you have any example to share, maybe a story to tell about these differences, how people communicate?
I definitely do. And this is part of the struggle too, right? And it also falls into this reliancy part that we have been talking about. And yes, it has to do with low context, high context. We are like probably on the other end, both. And the German communication is extremely direct. So we are probably the most direct people, or one of the most direct people in the world, saying exactly what we mean with exactly the word means their definition. And we are brutally honest. That makes things for us very, very easy, simple. You know exactly what they mean. It's transparent, it's quick. So we don't lose time in figuring out what something could mean. I always say probably this is why we work only 3 hours a week, and here in Chile they work 45 hours a week. It's one of the things, right? We are just going there, saying what we need, saying it exactly how it is, and then we leave. Here in Chile, or in general in Latin America, it's more indirect. It seems superficial. Conversations seem superficial, and sometimes you don't really know what exactly does it mean what they just said. They won't tell you, especially if it's like a little bit uncomfortable. They won't tell you directly. And even some Chileans I have been asking don't know exactly what the other one was saying. So sometimes it's like, okay, I don't get it. What were they saying here in this text? Like when everything goes to WhatsApp, for example. And a friend of mine said, I don't know. You're talking to them. How don't you know that? Yeah, you're right. It's a little bit indirect. I also don't get it. But how do you get along with this? I don't know. You figure out with time. Oh my God. For me, that's very stressful. And that's the other thing, they're very relaxed. So people here are very relaxed, and that is a very positive thing, and I could learn from that. One example at work was that when I was coming with my very German directness, in a very structured position, I was the head of the quality department, and I was looking for things that we can improve. So that's a German way to do things, right? We're going there, we're looking for failures, and we're talking directly, and then we leave. It was very difficult because people here are not addressing issues directly. They're like really more talking very nice around it, and see that they don't hurt anyone, and relationships are very important. So when I was coming and saying, oh, here we have something that's not working, so we have to fix that, a Chilean colleague would understand, oh, you're doing a very bad job. And that is something bad at the first place, but it also can mean a threat to their position. So I found out with time that some people were afraid that I'm threatening their position because I find some failures of them. But for me, in a German directness and process-oriented, it's not a failure of the person, it's a failure in the process, and we can fix it.
Improve, exactly.
So yeah, we had those kinds of difficulties and misunderstanding of direct and indirect communication, and which is also process related, relationship related. It falls all together, right? And another example is that very, very often I had discussions, like I said something, and my German directness way was exactly this is what I mean, and the other part was like, do you say that I am this, this, and this? I said, no, that's not what I said. I said
so
exactly
they take personally. So you're saying they
take it personally and interpret. Like in the indirect communication, there's lots of room for interpretation. So since I don't understand directly the Chilean way of interpret things, I said it very directly, like a German does. But the Chilean interprets something, whatever that is, and then they say, so you say I don't know what I am. And it's definitely not what I said. And then I try to explain, no, but I said exactly this. Yeah, but that means that I am, no, it means exactly what I said. So we had discussions like this, and I never understood, like, oh my God, what did I do wrong now? Just by saying it directly. And it sounds maybe easy to say, yeah, a word is exactly what it means. But for someone who is used to interpret in a different way, a word never is exactly what it means. And it's obviously not so easy to accept, okay, this is really what she means. So there were many, many, many misunderstandings at work, in private situations, when going shopping, whatever. It's everywhere. So a German and a Chilean have to be very patient together when communicating.
And what do you think was useful or helpful to you to help reframe their minds, before you address something, so that they didn't take personally or didn't, feel offended?
It depends on the other person as well. So if I am with another colleague who, I also understand that we have differences and we have to somehow get together. So they're more open-minded. So then we can figure it out. I can try to, how can I say this to that person? Or I ask the person, how does this sound to you when I say this and this? Because this is not what I mean, what you maybe just understood. That works, but not with everyone. So if the person is not really used to interacting with a foreigner, or not very open-minded, then I can try to explain what I want. It's always misinterpreted. And yeah, then I just have to acknowledge, and okay, it's just not possible to get them to understand what I really want to say. And sometimes I also have to give up. It's, yeah.
So it sounds like what we as leaders have to have in mind is not that it's not only the global leader who is relocating who needs assistance. Also, the people around the new global leader who's coming also needs a system to get this open-mindedness that you're talking about and be more prepared to, you know, interact with a very different way of leading things.
Right.
How do you think about that?
Right, definitely. So in my case, I was lucky. I had a very open team. So my direct team was very, very. We were very close together. We got along very, very great. But however, the other departments that we had to work with, and especially that I had to work with, and also their leadership, they were not really used to interacting with a German, or there were US Americans in the company, Dutch people in the company. They were not used to the directness related to their communication, and they would have needed some support as well. So not only us, and we were missing that unfortunately as well, but also them. They would have needed this kind of support. And I would even get further and say also the headquarters in the US, they would have needed some support to understand what's going on in their teams. Because the expats are the ones that are in the other country trying to get along, and the locals trying to get along with the invasive expats. But the management in the headquarters is usually not really involved in this, and don't really understand what struggle they have. And they expect deadlines, they expect things how they say they want to have it, and don't really understand that it might not be possible exactly the way they want to have it, just because of the differences in communication, but also in other cultural differences. It's not always possible to get exactly what you're used to from your own country. And that makes it even more difficult for expats to deliver, because the headquarters are not aware of those challenges.
What's going on? Yeah. So if you were to recommend to corporations what to do to fast track their expatriates adaptation and becoming, you know, a better global leader once they come in, what would you recommend?
So if I think about my own situation, as I said, the headquarters should be a little bit more aware. They should, however they want to do it, probably with a coach would be very, very good idea, to getting that awareness and that appreciation for the differences in culture and understanding what is possible and what is not possible. And probably trust in their expats, which is also sometimes like a leadership issue. The trust in general, trust in your team, and especially when it's an expat, trust them. Trust them when they say, you know what, this is not working this way. Really trust them and try to work with them together. And I think a coach is always a good idea, like if it's communication, cultural. Leadership, whatever, but a coach that helps you through the expat, but also the people that are very closely involved in that, to get along. Because I saw projects failing, I saw money flying away just because of those issues, and it's not necessary. If expats go to a country with a very different culture, I think a country-specific training could be good. Like, how does Chile really work? What are the specialties in Chile, especially for a German? Like, where can we clash? And also the country that is receiving the expats should know a little bit, at least the key people should know a little bit about the country that is coming in. So that
how is their profile, how they
right.
how they think and how they process things. Yeah.
Right. And if it's a real globally interacting company, which is very often having expats or having international teams working together remotely or however, I think something like an ambassador, like a culture ambassador in each side could be a very
good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I was volunteering for that, but they were not open at this moment. I'm not sure if they are now. So having a go-to person where the expats or people who are interested have to work with the teams on the site can learn something, or can sometimes maybe even relieve just a sounding board or whatever, or getting their information, getting some support so that they don't feel so alone and that they feel understood and that they learn and understand how it is working. because sometimes you can be really frustrated and it's not necessary. Sometimes it's maybe a small thing, but if it's adding up, you get frustrated by really small things. And if you would have someone who explains to you a little bit how that is working and why this might be misunderstood, or someone who's open enough to tell you, expat, how you say this and this, we understand that, and that might be not so great. So I would have needed this so much. It was really sometimes a painful learning on, okay, what did I say now? What was not okay?
I think you brought up something that is really important, not only for the expatriate, but also for the corporations that are, sending or relocating people, which was, you said, it's not everything on the expatriate, it's also on the team. So it's not only the expatriate who has to be trained and dealt with. Also, we have the corporations have to think about the environment, right? Those around the expatriate. I think that was, a very important takeaway. Thank you so much for bringing up. And that's a good segue for my next question, which would be, what would you give in terms of tips to Germans going to Latin America, or specifically to Chile? What would be something very helpful that you would have wanted to learn when going there for the first time?
Yes, so especially a German to Chile, I would say, or anyone to Chile, I would say, try to learn a little bit of Spanish. That helps so much. It's very much appreciated if they see you try, you really try. The Spanish can be horrible, that's fine, but you really try it. They're so much more open immediately. And now, so my Spanish is fluent now, but it's not as like my English, so it's a little bit above that, below that. But always when I talk with a Chilean, they say, "Oh, your Spanish is so great." And I say, "No, come on, it's really not." "Oh, no, it's so great." And they're so happy. So they really, really appreciate it. And when I was starting at the beginning, I came with zero Spanish. That was not so helpful. And when I was starting to learn it, they became more open. And I was really getting out there trying to speak. It was horrible, but they were happy, so it was good. Like, try to learn a little bit of Spanish, and with time, you also might understand a little bit more how they are working and thinking, because the language tells you a lot about the culture as well, and the other way around. So one example for communication, again, is like in Spanish, when you broke a cup, or you break a cup, for example, the Spanish translation would be literally, the cup broke itself. But in English or in German, it's, I broke the cup, and it's okay. But so the understanding on the Spanish side would be, why would you break the cup? But for me, the understanding is, yeah, the cup broke itself. So you try to get like someone else, like blaming someone or something else. So those are like misunderstandings that can occur just from language. So learn a little bit of the language, and then relax. This is what I heard very often when I came to Chile, and I was getting frustrated, I was getting upset, I was getting anxious, and I heard relax, and I got more anxious and more frustrated, more angry. Today I know they're right. They're really right. Relax. Try to relax. You German, try to relax, because we are not relaxed at all. Take it a little bit more easy and not so serious, and then it becomes so much easier. There's still frustrations, definitely, I promise you, but it becomes really easier if you try to get don't take it personal. See that there are differences. Be curious. Try to find out what are the differences, and make like maybe a little game of it. So be open-minded, relaxed, and not so serious. Not too. They say we are like square, and I think that's true sometimes.
And tell us. So you mentioned something interesting. So you said, for us to get more relaxed. That's the way you said it. So elaborate what you mean by relaxed.
Yeah. So as we are very structured and very serious, and everything has to be exactly how we say it, how we plan it, and that is even the difference between Germany and the US, for example. The US is like trial and error. German engineering is really, we plan it here, everything's on paper, everything is perfect, and then we go and we do it exactly that way. But this is not possible outside of Germany, maybe in Japan, but in Chile it's not. So nothing will work like you planned it. And if you're like strict and structured, like I was at the beginning, and you really try to do everything like you planned it, you get so frustrated. But if you try to take it a little bit easier and be more flexible, and this is something Germans have to learn. I think with relax, I also mean flexibility.
Flexibility. And spontaneous, maybe by the
right.
looks of what you're saying. Spontaneous and flexible are key,
yes.
key things. I see. That's very interesting. It's an interesting take. and I want your opinion also about something else. So what would you think it's important for global leaders, just like you and many other people who get relocated to other places, to increase their cultural competence, like overall increase their cultural competence and become better leaders?
Mm-hmm. I think be extremely curious. Be extremely curious and be open to surprises. I think that's a way you can relax as well. And you can learn, from everything, from frustrating things, from everything that's new to you and that is different from you, you can learn. And even though I found myself very often, I still find myself sometimes thinking like, how can they even survive, It's a stupid thought, because of course the whole country is surviving, the whole country is making very good, doing very well. It's not them, in this case it's me who's different, right? So be open and say, why are they like this? Like, what is about this situation what works for them, and why is it so difficult for me? So what's the difference here, and how do they do it? So if you're curious like this and accept and appreciate the difference, I think appreciation is the right word, then you grow, and then you do better with time, and you don't need to like it, you don't need to accept it for yourself, but accept that it's like this and try to find a way to go with that, and be open and ask others maybe as well, like, how do you deal with that? How does this work here? And then you have a much easier life.
It's almost like you're coaching yourself, right? You're making the right questions to reframe your mind. That's an interesting take.
Right.
That's very interesting. So let's work with a question, to help not only us but also our viewers. What did your expatriation in Chile teach you? Try to summarize in one word.
In one word, I think I said the word a few minutes ago. It's appreciation. I think that is the word I would put for this assignment here, or if not only an assignment, I'm still living here without that company. I learned how to appreciate differences, not only being frustrated about why do they do things so different like I do, and it's difficult, and why can't they do it like me? No, really appreciate that there are differences, because then you grow and you learn.
Yes, that's an interesting take, a fabulous take. And I think we, every time when we have this perception that we grow and learn, regardless of what's happening, right? Even if sometimes bad things happen, but we can see through the light of how am I really learning and growing in this situation. So yeah, I think that's fabulous. That's a great tip, for everyone who's watching us today. And so now we got to the point where I wanted to share the hand gestures. So did you think about some hand gestures?
Yes, I took.
That's my favorite part.
I thought about two, and in both the thumb is involved. It's like I'm not sure if there are many more countries than Germany that count one like this, because there are many countries starting here or here, but Germany counts like here. And when you say how many, you say this, and people get like what because there's one or one, but in Germany one is this.
Oh,
So that
really?
is one.
Okay.
Yes. So I got aware of this in China, actually, because in China they start here, and in some other countries they start here to count. And yeah, that was very interesting for me because they got always very confused when I said this. So I don't do this anymore, and Germans now get confused.
And the okay sign in that is okay in US. How is it in Germany?
Okay, so this is more like, this is great, this is like delicious, something like this. Okay is also, it's also okay. Yes, this is okay, and this is awesome. And the other hand gesture that I thought of that also no one knows is, instead of crossing your fingers for someone or for something, we press our thumbs. So we say not I cross my fingers for you. We say I press my thumbs for you, and we do this. And some people do this, but usually you hide your thumb. So that's another different sign in Germany.
That's interesting. That's interesting because in some countries this can mean something bad. But for example, in Brazil, it also is a sign of luck. It's also a sign of luck. That's very interesting.
Yeah, but I know this is in Brazil. This is not nice.
Right? No. although now I think due to Hollywood, etc., things are more cosmopolitan, so we understand more if someone says that. But originally, that was not okay. That was something else, not forbidden to say in this channel. Mandy, so now we have our last question. Is not exactly a question. It's just for anyone who is new here in our channel. We created a deck of cards which with the purpose of helping us train our brains to be more resilient, to be more assured, to be more in self-control. And I will leave a link in the description below if you guys want to purchase it. And today I wanted to share one of these cards with Dr. Mandy so that she could read it and give us her perspective. So Mandy, this is how it works. I'm going to share a card with you, and then you are going to read it out loud to the readers, and then you can say anything that comes to your mind. It could be related to your expatriation, it could be related to something present right now in your life, it could be anything that comes up for you. How does that sound?
I like it. I'm excited. Okay. I decide what I want to accomplish. I am in control of my life. Strength and dedication are integral parts of my being, and I always achieve my full potential and accomplish all my goals. So the card is about potential. Actually, that resonates very well with me here with my time in Chile as well. Because I was deciding, so I mentioned before that I'm not working in the company anymore with that I came here, and I decided to take a year off in the desert of Chile. I didn't mention that, and this was really difficult. It was leaving a secure, like financial secure space, and going into the uncertainty of work, and going into the uncertainty in a different country. I was staying in Chile, I was not going back to Germany, and I was living a year in a desert. But I did this because I decided that I didn't want this anymore. I did want something totally new. So, and I accomplished it, even though I was extremely scared, and it's still scary sometimes. And you know it yourself, right? If you start something really new, and it can be scary. But yeah, I decide for myself, and I accomplish those things. So that resonates very well with me. So amazing. Thank you for this card.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mandy. Thank you so much for being here, for being so candid and sharing your experiences, sharing your thoughts with us. I really appreciate you for being here and taking the time to explain, and educating our viewers. So, all I have, in line with what you said before, I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was excited to be here. It was really great. Thank you for the invitation. And I appreciate you as well and all of your followers and all of the Chileans and everyone in the world, because it's about appreciation. So that's probably a very nice closing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to tell you one more thing. You are a global leader. The question is, do you have all the skills that you need to succeed? I'd love to help. I save my very best tips for my subscribers. Subscribe for free at coachingexpatriates.com. I know your inbox is sacred, so I promise I will send you emails that you will love. Wow, that was amazing. I think these talks are fascinating, and I hope you do too. As always, I will leave links in the description below for you to check out. If you like this conversation today, please give us a like and don't forget to share with your friends and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching.